What I learned in VF school is, what I learned in VF school is you're only minus if you're a bitch. How's it been? Internet's been fucked up the past couple days. Virtua Fighter came out. I'm having a good time with it. Netcode is surprisingly playable. Shocking. On a console. And you know how I am with Netcode. But yeah, I'm having a good time with a fighting game on a console. That's just like unheard of. So that's not on PC. Yeah, it really sucks. It'll be out in a year on PC, I'm sure. That's usually how they do it. But it really sucks, yeah. I would be so sad right now if I didn't have a PlayStation. The funny thing is, I originally got this fucking thing like many years ago because I thought Tekken 7 was going to only be on console, right? I didn't think it was going to be on PC because this was the time when fighting games just weren't on PC outside of a couple. And obviously that didn't happen, but now at the end of the console's life cycle, it's become a Virtua Fighting machine. And I'm kind of okay with that. Like, this netcode's legitimately good. Yeah, the netcode, it feels like Tekken on PC. That's how it feels. Which is saying quite a bit, because Tekken's netcode on PC isn't good, but it's playable. You know? That's the thing. It's playable. And this feels about the same. It feels like Tekken 7 netcode on PC, which is only a step below a rollback, right? Because rollback is like about offline, right? And it can be a bit bad. It can start getting on the cusp of being like PC delay-based netcode. But yeah, like for delay-based, I can't imagine getting much better than this. Like, I played against someone in I think Japan, just based on their name, and the frame delay was like 11. Which is insane, East Coast to Japan being 11 frames of delay. It was like East Coast to West Coast, which is probably what it actually was because it uses servers, so it probably connected to a server that was on the, that was on the West Coast, right? So it makes sense, but still. The problem is it doesn't work all the time. So sometimes you get games that are like, no shit, not even an exaggeration, 30 frames of delay. That happens sometimes. Still terrible, though. It is still terrible, but it's East Coast to Japan on delay-based netcode. East Coast to Japan on delay-based netcode being only 11 is not bad at all. Still unplayable, yes, but it's not making me want to completely tear my hair out like that kind of connection would normally be. I got some resistance to delay. Have you seen me I don't play my favorite fucking fighting game because of delay-based netcode. I do not have resistance to netcode. I mean, I guess compared to people who are like, I only play, you know, on rollback, sure. But I fucking hate netcode in everything. When it's 5 frames, I already want to die. Yeah, and here, I'd say it's averaging around 6 or 7. Which, again, is about Tekken's. Oh, did you... I got a nice step, but I hit the wrong button. Let's compare, say, Soul Calibur's netcode. I mean, it's much better than Soul Calibur's netcode, that's for sure. Although, honestly, I don't even know if... Because, like, I showed the thing that I found with Soul Calibur's netcode. I don't even know if it's the netcode that's the problem. I think it's more... the, I could have converted off that. I think it's the performance more than the netcode, to be honest. Oh, 5 frames on... Oh, if we're talking 5 frames on top of that, then for me, it's like at 2. That's when I start getting like, okay, this is like borderline too much. Cause So back to Soul Calibur's netcode, though. The thing is, with Soul Calibur, I can play people sometimes in France, and it feels like offline. Like, no shit. I can play people in Europe, and sometimes I've had games where it legitimately feels like offline. But then other times it's not like that, right? And that's kind of how it is here, too. Except Soul Calibur doesn't use servers. So if anything, maybe Soul Calibur's at least potentially can be better, right? But yeah, I don't know. Because again, a lot of the issue with Soul Calibur's netcode is performance, right? From what I found, a lot of it, because a lot of the problems you have is because it feels like the person you're playing against is on Wi-Fi, and that's because of performance issues with the game, and the game's not able to handle those performance issues, right? I can have a game with 3 frames of delay in total, right? So, like, PS4 offline, and it's unplayable because of performance issues. So, it's hard to say. The game needs engine optimization. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Because after seeing, that the reason why games in Soul Calibur feel unplayable is because of performance problems, it makes me think maybe Soul Calibur doesn't even need rollback netcode, you know? Maybe it really doesn't need it, because whatever they've done with the netcode in Soul Calibur actually works really well, right? Every time I've looked at a game to look at what the actual frame delay is, every time it's like 3-4 frames of delay. It's like PS4 offline. You can't get better than that, right? You can't. Even with rollback, you can't really get better than that. But, you know, so I don't know what Namco did with Soul Calibur. They did some pixie magic on that shit. But the problem is, the performance still fucks the game over. The performance issues still cause what would normally be wired games to feel like Wi-Fi. But yeah, man, I don't know. When it comes to this game, though, outside of Soul Calibur, let me put it this way, if it was on PC, it would be the equivalent of PS4 offline, right? Most of the time. But it still has issues. It still has issues where just sometimes you'll get a game, and it'll be with someone in America, and you can tell because of the name, and the frame delay will be like 30. Because it's trying to connect you to a server in Africa when you're both on the East Coast. It makes no fucking sense. It's gotten better over the past couple of days, but it still happens, right? And the problem is, too, the game will still label that as a 4-bar. Which is just weird. The other problem, too, there are 2 more problems. The first problem is when you're playing on a server, one person is going to have an advantage over another in terms of delay. There are going to be games where someone has like 5 frames of delay and someone else has 7. And that can make a big difference. It's a huge advantage for one person. And that's why I don't like server-based fighting game matchmaking in general, like with Parsec. Because one person is going to have a big advantage over the other. And for Parsec, when there are games that just, you know, you don't have the option, yeah, it's great, but then you have, like, Virtua Fighter, and it's like, yeah, it's nice to have the option, but I kind of wish it wasn't default, you know? I wish it was something that would kick in if it's taking you a while to find a game, like have it be a failsafe, more than the default. The other problem, when I was having issues with my internet, I had about a 0.1 megabit per second upload speed, and what would happen, I was playing the game, and every time I played against someone, it was completely fine for me, but everyone I played against played one and then left. And this was in casual as well. And I played against about 6 different people. Everyone played one and left. So what that tells me is that, one, your upload and download speeds actually matter when you play in this game. And it's probably because instead of sending data directly to someone, you're having to upload to a server and then download it from a server, which takes more bandwidth. And what ends up happening is that your opponent is uploading and downloading data at a normal rate, but if your upload speed is very slow, the server doesn't give a fuck, right? Because it's just going to keep sending you the data. So if you have a high download speed but not high upload speed, your opponent is going to be so laggy because they're not going to be able to get the data fast enough, but you're going to be completely fine. Right, you're going to have no issues, but your opponent, their game's going to be completely unplayable. There's going to be a huge amount of delay, and it's going to be because of your upload speed. You're not able to upload your inputs fast enough, and because of that, they have to be more delayed so they can get the inputs so that they don't get desynced, right? And that's a problem. That's a big problem. Because what that means is if I'm playing in tournament, I can just throttle my upload speed, and then I'm fine. I have no problems, but then my opponent's fucked. It's like Street Fighter one-sided rollback. That's more speculation, but I know for a fact that there is one-sided delay in this game. And it's not just because of the servers or one person's farther away. No, there are, I've seen cases where one person has like 4 frames of delay and another person has 10. It's an extreme discrepancy. Again, a lot like Street Fighter. And, you know, if you can figure out a way to use that to your advantage, then that can be a huge issue, right? Like, again, I can just go in the ranked, throttle my upload speed, and I can probably get more wins, because I'll be fine, but my opponent will probably be laggy as fuck. You know, now, are people realistically going to do that? No. But is it a way that you can cheat? Yes. And can it be a problem? Yeah, absolutely. You know? It's kind of like if you're playing on Wi-Fi and only your opponent can experience the Wi-Fi. Like, if you're playing on... It's like you experiencing the connection that your opponent has, in a way, right? And this is just a hypothetical example. This isn't actually how Wi-Fi works in this game, but it's like that, right? It's like if you're playing on Wi-Fi and your opponent's playing on Ethernet, and your opponent experiences the effects of Wi-Fi, but you feel like you're on Ethernet. That's kind of the problem. You can understand how that would be a problem, right? So yeah, netcode in this game... I mean, rollback's just better, right? It has a lot of issues. Is it better than any other delay-based system out, or delay-based netcode out right now? Probably, right? The only one I can think of that might be better is Soul Calibur, but the only reason why I'm hesitant to say that is because it's the performance issues, I think, is what makes that game feel so shit, right? But it still has a lot of issues. It still has a ton of issues. So, when and if Virtua Fighter 6 comes out, they need to use rollback. That's the short of it. And that's what everyone's saying. But they really do need to use rollback instead of this system. Because it's still not good. You know? It's better than delay-based, and with the system they have with the servers, it's better for longevity because you can connect to people from farther away, which is great. But rollback's still better. You know, that's the problem.